Hello all, welcome back to my channel, Rover Turbo. This is part 3 on the Range Rover TD6 that I bought. It's been a while since the MOT. I have been recording little bits and pieces as I've been going along, so there hasn't been a video on this in a while, but I have been working on it, so I've just needed time just to collate it together. So this is going to be in 2 parts. So part 3, which is this one, and then part 4 will be the next one. So I'm breaking it up because there's like an hour of, well, 40 minutes or so of stuff that I've done on this so far. I haven't finished it yet. I'm trying to keep things collated down, so I'm not redoing stuff that I've done, or re-videoing stuff that I've already done on the other Range Rover. So hopefully you're going to find it enjoyable. We'll find out if you watch it or not, won't you? Or won't we? So yeah, thanks for clicking on this video. I can assure you that if you do click on this video and you continue to watch my videos, there will be more content based on Range Rovers. I've got the Golf GTI, the cheapest Golf GTI that I'm currently working on. I've also got my Sierra that I'm working on. I've got stuff videoed and content. I just need to be edited, collated together, and then posted out. So anyway, I'm gonna stop gabbling on and crack on with the video. As usual, please subscribe, like, comment. It all helps with the algorithm, the YouTube algorithm, that recommends my videos to other people. And more times my videos get watched, the more popular they're going to become. And I think in the long run it will be better for everyone. I also haven't forgotten about the giveaway. I have got my first payment from YouTube. It took a long time due to tax issues and all kinds of other things. I hadn't done something, so it didn't pay me and whatever. So I am going to do that video. I just need to purchase what I'm going to purchase. I think the most popular thing was a jump pack, I think. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to purchase it, and then we're going to do some kind of giveaway. I'll do a video, it'll be separate anyway. So anyway, let's crack on. So, shock absorber. You can buy these without the top plate on, or you can buy them with the top plate on. So obviously if you don't buy them with the top plate on, you have to take the bolt out and put the plate on. So there wasn't a lot of difference in the price, so I thought it was easier just to put the whole thing in complete. So you've got 3 bolts at the top for the plate, and then you've got 1 bolt at the bottom which goes through the lower arm. So from inside, the easiest thing I found to do is just to put one of the seats up, depending on what side you're doing. Take out the boot lid, whatever you call it, and then you just pry up this bit of carpet here, and then you can see the 3 bolts down there that undo those. So you undo those 3 bolts, obviously get it up in the air, jack it up in the air, take the wheel off, which you probably don't even have to do, to be honest with you, if you're on a ramp, but I am. So, and then there's just 1 bolt that holds it in, and obviously the whole lot comes out. So obviously I would assume that the body has to be supported and the wheel has to be free floating, so you can move the arm up and down to get the bolt located in there. So okay, so we've got it jacked up, axle stand underneath. So we've got this big bolt here, which is a 20, well, it's now a 21. I don't know whether it was a 22 originally, but I've just got the gun on that, and that is spinning. So hopefully the bolt that goes through the bush, so the bolt is spinning in the bush and the bush isn't spinning, because the other side we've got a nut. So just giving that a bit of a wire brush and a bit of WD-40. So that end is actually spinning. So hopefully this, as I say, the bolt is spinning in the bush and the inner bush isn't spinning, otherwise this is going to turn into a bit of a nightmare. So I'm just going to get a spanner on that, and then give the other side a bit of a gun and see if we can make the 2 move. So that is moving, so that's good. So that's the bolt off, that's out. now loose, so we'll just undo the 3 bolts at the top and that should come out. So 3 16mm bolts in there. So I've just left one on loose, so I'm going to loosen that off. So there you go, that's the old one off. It's in pretty bad condition. Still has some damping in it, but shouldn't really be able to push them. So there's the old one. Get a new one in. Right, so that's those 3. Just started those off. I haven't tightened them up. Just loosely put them in there. And then, ooh, shiny. So, and this one, I'm just going to have to get another jack and just jack up the lower suspension arm just a little bit, just so I can get that lined up. Right, so that's in. It's all connected. Bolts done up. It's bolted in at the top, so that's done. Just one less thing to do for the MOT. So now I've got to look at, not in this particular order, but the brakes, calipers, strip all those down, make sure the pistons are all good, clean all the pads up. So the pads look good. I'm hoping these are going to come back. We'll see. And then probably the brake pipes look okay on this one. They go down to there, but I will, as a matter of course, give them a clean, get some vac tan on them and give them a coat of paint. But pretty much all of the brake pipes on this entire car have got to be replaced. So from this point to the ABS pump, the other side, and then the 2 fronts. I think one was an advisory, so we'll have a look at that. So I'm just in the process of trying to rig something up so I can get this mobile again. In the process of trying to loosen off this bolt under here, it fractured the brake pipe. It just started to spring a leak. Usual story, the union rounded off and the brake pipe just fractured and started leaking. So I've managed to unclip it all the way down the car so I can get a little bit of flex on it. So I've cut it off, obviously, with the pipe slice, pipe cut or whatever. And this is the original steel brake pipe on a bit of pipe, so I'm just going to try and see if I can flare it. If I can flare it, and I can just put on a little bit of pipe temporarily just to go back into there so I can get the brake system up and working, then, because I don't want to do these rear pipes on my back. The front ones I'm not that bothered because I've done them before, but these go up, you know, up here, and they go over the top of the axle, and they go through this back there, this plastic box, and down the car, and they're, you know, they're really difficult on your back. So I'm trying to get this in a position where I can actually now have brakes. I don't know if this is going to work, but this is my progress. I've just tightened those 2 bolts up. New union on there, so I'm going to put my die in there with a bit of grease and tighten it up, and I'm going to see whether I can get a flare on there. And then I'll use a joining piece, and then I'll just you know, put a new piece and then put another flare on that end, and then, you know, and then obviously, but these are obviously going to have to be replaced because they're, you know, the MOT failed on them. So that's the flare on the end of there. I've never done one on a steel brake pipe. It's a little bit harder than a copper one, but I'm not quite sure whether that's going to work or not. I don't know. It looks okay, but when you look closer, it sort of isn't. So it's got 2 chances in it. So yeah, I'll just get a little bit made up to go back into there, and then we'll see what happens. Right, so that's done. So coupler on there, a little bit of pipe. This is just temporary, yeah, till we get all of this. Will be back in here with a proper clip and everything. So it's currently got the Sealy pressure bleeding kit on it. Bled the air out of it. So, and I'm just going to keep it pumped up just for a few minutes, 5 to 10 minutes. It's already been on there for 5-10 minutes, but just going to leave it on there for a bit. And also, I can't remember whether I've mentioned, but this is, I've cleaned all this down, and then I've treated all of the rust with a rust treatment. So everything you can see here that's black, I've treated with some rust treatment, Vactan I used up here, and all the suspension components, the brake caliper, the disc, the back plate, and then I've sprayed all of this with black paint, matte black paint, and then I've sprayed all of this with stone chip. So that's basically what I'm going to do on all four corners and underneath. So clean it up, protect it with Vactan, and then paint over the top of it. So hopefully on the MOT I can get rid of that advisory for corrosion, just to nip it in the bud, keep it at bay, and then do the same with this. I've treated all of this arch with the Vactan, and then I'm literally going to get some colour match and then just literally just paint over that, just to make it look better than it is. I mean, apart from cutting all of this out, it's just not there yet. It's not falling to pieces, but it's just common on these. So if I can just keep it at bay, protect it, it will go on for another, few more years before it will need doing. Every single Range Rover I've seen of this age has got corrosion like that. That one has got the same. It's been treated on that other one. It's been protected and covered, and it's it's sort of stopped it, or slowed it down I should say. Right, I'm doing a few more bits on this today. So I borrowed a workshop today, and I'm gonna get the majority of the other bits and pieces done, like the rear brake pipes, as much as I possibly can get today basically. So I'm gonna film it and show you what I do. Right, so I've got it somewhat in the air. So this is the side that I did all the work on, the handbrake, caliper and that kind of stuff. So that one is all good. So that's the only one that I've touched. This one, and there's a little bit of bind on the brakes there, but I'm going to strip all the brakes down, clean them up, paint them. That one's quite bad. And you can feel it when you drive it, that there's definitely something holding it. It's like driving with the handbrake on. And I think it might be this one. I can barely move. But I knew it wouldn't roll. I couldn't push it. So yeah, hopefully the caliper's not toast, because I ain't got plans for that today. But I'm going to do the rear brake pipes properly. I just can't do it on my back. I don't know if I've got some kind of medical condition or vertigo or what, I don't know, but laying on my back wipes me out. So I'm going to do the rear, well, I'm going to do as much as I possibly can today. Rear brake pipes, do as much Vactaning, rust treatment, painting. If I can do the front brake pipes, if I can do the calipers and stuff, at least strip them down and make sure it rolls. There's an air suspension fault at the moment, and the front end is on the deck, but I know that the bracket holding this, you can't see that, can you? I know the bracket holding this ride height sensor has snapped. The actual bracket has snapped, so that's sort of sending it all cattywampus. So right, let me get on, start taking some wheels off, get it up in the air, and I'm going to have a look at these brake pipes and just see how hard or how difficult it is, because I've never done them on one of these, or the rear ones anyway. So I thought we'd have a bit of a closer look underneath, because I'm not concerned about the corrosion, but due to the fussy bugger that I am, and I know a lot of other people are going to be, I just want to be happy that it isn't serious, because the main concerns on these are up there. I mean, that's all solid, you can see that's solid. It just has a bit of surface corrosion on it, and these seal edges, that's just the undercoating covering this coming off. I mean, even the air, it's the air tank, isn't it? Even the air tank's good. because he's marked it on the MOT, but I think he was a little bit unfair. I think he had to, because you know it is. But all of this is just surface corrosion, and where it's just been standing for so long, and possibly where he was living. So I'm going to do all this. I'm going to treat all of these suspension arms. I'm going to treat the whole of the front subframe, but there's no oil leaks. There's no oil leaks coming off. A little bit on the bottom of the turbo you'd expect, but it's not dripping down here. The diff and stuff, front prop, that's all dry. There's nothing leaking out of the car, no coolant. And the same, yeah, on here. It's all just surface corrosion. So we'll treat that with Vactan. But all this looks okay. Under here, it's literally just on the edges, and here, look, you see that it's probably been parked by the sea for the mileage that it's got. But I want to get the, see a new shock absorber there, I want to get the back plate. I've done all this, the front end, in from here, you see. But I want to do the underneath and the back plate, which I couldn't do on the floor. Possibly the diff, not sure. And obviously it's up here. It's not a lot, really. It's not as bad as I was expecting. A couple of little patches on here, but that all looks good up there. So, right, so brake pipes. I think they run along here. So if I take off this plastic cover, I'm not sure whether this is separate or whether it goes over the tunnel. We'll see if we can get this piece off, because it looks like the brake pipes go. I might join it under here with the joiners. If this brake pipe's here, all these are good. Can't see any reason why they wouldn't be. So I'm assuming they all come down in here and along here and then through, because they sort of pop out there. So I think this has to come down, and then I obviously replace all of the rear pipes. Right, let me get cracking, undo some bolts and stuff, and we'll see what we can see. I've got there's a plastic cover. It's got Allen key plastic pegs in it. And then there's a cover here, which has got 2 8mm bolts in it, which bolt to this. And then, I mean, people give these cars a bad rap. You know, I mean, how is that not supposed to? This is mud, by the way. This is compacted. I've swept up, like, 3 times. This is just compacted mud. I mean, how are these, you know, not supposed to corrode? You know, it's not the car's fault, is it? So yeah, so those brake pipes look fine, don't they? They look perfect. Obviously I need a coat of paint, but I'll clean all that mud off, and I'm probably going to join them under here. It seems pointless. All the brake pipes I've ever seen done on all other cars, they don't go right to the master cylinder. Right, that's so much better. I've got mud down my arms now and everywhere, so that's all nice and clean all the way through there. So I've just got to clean that up. Right, so this box does come off separately. Didn't realise that. So there's loads of 13mm bolts that go around here. There's a couple over there. There's one right up there. You have to use a long extension. One up there. And there's a few bolts that hold this tin shield in. And then there's a couple of bolts down there you can just get to. And then that's one of the halves of the fuel tank. And obviously we're just getting caught up on this side, so I'll probably need 2 hands to get that out. Alright, so that's the cover off, because as we all know on these, the tank is in 2 separate halves and there's a balance. There's 3 pumps on these. You've got a balancing pump inside the tank. You've got your sort of medium high pressure pump, which I think is about 3 bar, which takes the fuel to the high pressure pump in the engine. Normally these will start to get noisy when they start to go. So yeah, brake pipes is back where we were before. So yeah, so you can start to see here, I think one of those is a plastic vent. There's still one mud, look. Cool. Yeah, so you got this, it starts to get a bit crusty when you come down here, and then yeah, they start to get really crusty. So yeah, so obviously then one splits off to here and the other one goes across the top. I think you can just see it up there, across there. I've already pulled that out of the clips. So right, okay, so I've already put me dead man on the pedal. So in theory then, I just start cutting some pipes. Right, so I'm working on this furthest brake pipe first of all. So I've disconnected that and I've run a new pipe, just temporarily, well not temporarily, but roughly over the top. And then obviously it comes out here, and then obviously I'm going to do my bends and up and over there. And what I've worked out is in here, this is in the front wheel arch, that there's join. Can you see that? There's joiners in there. So I've disconnected this pipe, so I've taped it, which is the rear one. This one here. So I've disconnected that. Assuming it is the right one that I've done. It might be in a clip under there actually. It's probably a clip under there. Assuming I've disconnected the right one. Nope. Disconnected the wrong one. Right, okay. Well, I need to disconnect it anyway, but I want to disconnect the other one. So I need to disconnect that one above it because I want to do one at a time because I don't want to get all the pipes mixed up. So I'm going to disconnect that and obviously get them in all one, but I want to do one side at a time and get them all in neat and then do the other side so I'm not getting mucked up.